If the entire world got fried by a brain-targeting EMP, except for a little circle of life around Moscow, then mute-face Neo popped into existence, telepathically begging you to kill his evil brother who's militarizing millions of voteless to swarm your position. Oh, and also to destroy his entire alien race's giant colonization ship due to land on Earth tomorrow. What would you do? Let's break down how to beat the ancient aliens in Blackout: Invasion Earth. It sounded like a lot of people still like the previous format, so my next video on The Conjuring Last Rites will be the OG style. Might do a mix of both going forward, depending on the movie. For Blackout: Invasion Earth, I'm cutting straight to it, as there was 2.5 hours of tactical what the f***'s going on madness, with a 10-minute exposition dump crammed in the middle explaining it all.
What the f was that, man? There were no, like, monsters or fights or dead pools. It was just people staring at each other.
200,000 years ago, an advanced alien race was facing certain doom. Their star was dying, and they needed a new home, Earth. Problem is, another somewhat advanced race was already squatting it. Not us humans, the ones before us, who created the pyramids, Atlantis, Stonehenge, and Göbekli Tepe, maybe? In order to evict the current tenants, Ide's race of immortal telepaths devised and set into motion a totally flawless 3-stage plan. Stage 1. Seed the world with a biological weapon. Implant Earth with space orcs with cranked up drives for procreation and violence who will mercilessly conquer any existing sentient species. He's talking about us. To pull this off, the aliens launched 2 ships. The first was a small vessel sent through hyperspace, instantly delivering genetically engineered humans and 2 alien overseers to Earth. Their job? Supervise the human plague, facilitating its murdering, enslaving, and conquering of all native sentient life. The second ship, a massive ark, was dispatched at sublight speed, as it can't travel at hyperspeed apparently. A journey that would take 200,000 years. The idea is that by the time the colonization ship got to Earth, it'd be sufficiently primed for their arrival, clear of any adversarial life, with most of their needed infrastructure pre-built by the humans, the fridge fully stocked with nobody home. But what about the violent, insolent human race that they infested Earth with? Stage 2. With the success of their human bioweapon and Ark days away from landing on Earth, the 2 supervisors, Ide and Raw, would finally get off their to remotely activate an EMP attack. Presumably emitted by the aliens' impending Ark ship. This pulse wave was designed to activate a deeply entrenched kill control switch in the human genetic code, effectively insta-killing all the pesky, violent human life on the planet. Well, most of life. A subset of the human population was to be left alive as mind-controlled slave labor. Stage 3. Colonization. The alien Ark running on autopilot will touch down with its cargo hold packed full of aliens still sleeping in stasis pods. The ship's massive cargo door will automatically drop, and with either the proximity or activation of Raw or Ide's chest cube device, a countdown activation sequence will begin. Once the dramatic timer hits 0, the aliens will awaken from stasis. My old chair had no footrest, scratchy materials, a bottom cushion that wormed out every time I sat down, armrests with 0 padding, and it squeaked if I moved, like at all. The C7M fixes all of that, and more. It's fully adjustable, solidly built, and has a pull-out footrest so I can kick the legs up. The seat cushion stays in place, the materials are soft and squishy, and best of all, it's silent. No squeaking if I so much as breathe. The armrests, lumbar, head height, and tilt all adjust however you need them. so you can actually sit how your body was designed to by God himself. Everyone talks about getting a nice bed because you spend 8 hours a day lying on it, but you probably spend just as long, if not longer, sitting. 8 hours at work, then another 4 or 5 on Battlefield 6, easily. See, you need a superior technology if you're putting in those hours. The FlexiSpot C7M also pairs quite nicely with my FlexiSpot power adjustable desk. They've also got the standard C5 and the new C7 Morpher with upgraded lumbar, sacral, and upper back support. If you sit all day, do your spine and your ass a favor. The C7M comes with a 30-day risk-free trial and a 10-year warranty. And if you use my code C730, you'll get $30 off your order at FlexiSpot.com. Thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. That's it. That's the plan. And they would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for their own race's ironically selfish desires. What the aliens' flawless plan failed to account for was one of their trusted overlords going rogue. For 200,000 years, Iden Ra oversaw and guided the development of what was essentially a truncated version of themselves with slightly modified genetic code. While Ra was on mission, ready to annihilate all of humanity at the press of a button to welcome his brethren, Iden became sentimental, seeing that humanity, through all its flaws and blunders, was truly a remarkable race with potential. He saw himself almost like a father to the human race.
Те самое близкое слово «Бог».
Just kidding. In a lot of ways, he was. His immortality and telepathic ability to puppet any human mind meant he could easily self-actualize his megalomaniacal agendas. He could become the ultimate god king of a warrior race. But if he was complicit in killing off all the humans and allowed his own race to arrive and awaken from stasis, they would assume control, utterly nullifying any power or meaning that he once had. I simply couldn't allow this, so he decided to sabotage their 3-stage plan at stage 2. He was the one responsible for timing and initiating the pulse wave attack. It was supposed to be triggered when the moon was over the ocean, but instead, he activated it when the moon passed over Moscow, sparing all life within that small circular region and creating a resistance. A resistance that I'd assumed control over by flexing his godly telepathic powers in front of the base commanders. Next, I'd needed to get rid of Ra. His plan was to use one of the humans who had developed latent psionic abilities, a side effect of the kill switch malfunctioning and accidentally activating parts of the alien genetic code that were supposed to remain dormant. He would use this telepathic human to locate Ra. Ide could have done it himself, but telepathy is a two-way street. If he reached out directly, Ra would immediately sense his location and unleash his human drone army to destroy him. So instead, Ide had the human make contact. Ra detected the signal, traced it, and ordered his drone forces to launch cruise missiles at the base, killing everyone there. Collateral damage, which Ide was quite vocal about finding acceptable. Ide then used orcs to steamroll through the hordes and kill Ra, securing his position as the last telepath on Earth. All he had to do next was wait with his human army for the Ark to land, open its doors, and then wipe out the remaining aliens while they were still in stasis. But there was one problem with Ide's plan. Humans did what humans do: burn the alien, kill the mutant, and purge the unclean. Knowing Ide was too powerful to be left alive, one of the soldiers tackled him off a skyscraper, sending them both to their deaths. The remaining soldiers approached the alien ship as its doors automatically opened. They entered, found the stasis pods, and destroyed the fluid lines supplying oxygen to the sleepers, suffocating the aliens in their own chambers, all except for the children. Alright, I'm gonna break down the strategic failures of the aliens, Ide, Ra, and the humans. In order for the aliens to know that intelligent life on Earth existed, they'd have to have sent a hyperspace scout ship there first, as the light reaching their planet would be 200,000 years old. If they had done so, they'd have realized there was no sufficiently advanced intelligent life on the planet that could threaten their arrival. Any life that existed on Earth at the time, even those that had the capability of creating the pyramids or Atlantis, were comparatively extremely primitive. On that point, I gotta clap back at Ide for trying to dump on us.
Люди построили пирамиды и подводные города.
Oh! Wow, big stones arranged in a pile. Neat. Our 3-year-olds make formations like that with big colorful plastic blocks too. Atlantis? Check your history, dumb. It wasn't intended to be an underwater city. It became one when it got flooded after the ice caps got nuked by a meteor or something. Because what idiots would build a city underwater? That's the worst possible place to build a city unless you're a fish. You sent us to kill these utter primates, and they were such a non-threat that there's no recorded battle even occurring. They were ashes before we learned how to make fire. Look around you. We have towers that reach the top of the sky, electronics, computers, AI, drones, space travel. We've conquered everyone and everything, and you needed us to carry out your frankly idiotic plan. Acting like we're dumb animals because we didn't build a pyramid? Didn't, not couldn't. Because it's a massively stupid waste of time and slave labor. If there was an advanced intelligent life that existed on Earth before us, it'd make no sense to drop off a tribe of primitive humans to supplant them. You don't send a supposedly lesser species to take over a more advanced one. That makes no sense. They would just farm our asses. You're telling me you traveled through hyperspace from another star system and have no better weapons to deal with occupying civilizations that are effectively toddlers scrapping themselves in a sandbox. A lone expeditionary squad arriving through hyperspace could have easily eliminated them with the interstellar level technology that they had. Even at sublight speeds, had they murked the former aliens, no advanced sentient life would prosper in that 200,000 year travel time. They could even periodically do drive-bys to stomp out any monkeys that tried to enter the Stone Age. By seeding human life, which was a version of their own intelligence, on Earth and waiting 200,000 years, they basically created a potentially unmanageable problem. Human exponential technological progress would be incredibly difficult to predict. Even if they were only 1% off an estimated technological level, that is a 2,000-year difference. 2,000 years from now, we'll have significantly more advanced tech and would thus be harder to control. Without doing some three-body problem-style quantum tech suppression, we're simply too uncontrollable. Even I'd mentioned how the humans progressed and grew far faster than they anticipated. Not hard to think that with 2,000 more years, we'd easily have EMP-shielded magnetic accelerator cannons mounted on Erod-class orbital defense platforms, and on moon bases firing 3,000-ton super-heavy depleted uranium rounds accelerated to 4% of the speed of light. Imagine floating over to Earth after wiping out billions of humans, getting ready to stretch your legs out on the couch after such a long journey, looking out of the porthole window and seeing this thing aimed at you. Heavy magnetic coil charging intensifies. That would be quite the miscalculation, which kinda begs the question, why didn't they just seed their own life on Earth instead of a genetically truncated form more akin to a violent chimp that had no allegiance to you? Your own race could have easily wiped out Atlantis, procreated more of your civilized race, and welcomed the Ark when it arrived. The added bonus is you don't have to genocide billions of sentient lives. I have a lot more questions too. Why could Ra and Ide use hyperspace travel, but not the Ark? It seems ridiculous not to make more smaller hyperspace ships or have one smaller one ferry them back and forth. Maybe there's some fuel constraints here, so I'll let it slide. Why did they not have any redundancies in the execution of the most critical part of their plan, killing the humans? They could have hit them with radiation pulses, plagues, sterilization tech in the water supply, simply hit them with more than one pulse wave. There is nearly an infinite number of ways to ensure that humanity is dead by the time that they arrive. Why send the Ark without any sort of automated systems for EMPing Earth? Seems insane to put such a critical event in the manual control of a guy who easily could have been murdered or compromised by one of the billions of human warriors that they implanted the Earth with. Why have the Ark's door automatically open while the entire ship is still defenseless in stasis? They should have had scanners which could detect the presence of their race, humans or other enemies. The door should only be able to be opened through a telepathic passcode. Why not automatically wake all the aliens from stasis a week before landing? Again, it's insane to land on a potentially hostile planet still occupied by humans and drop the ship doors while everybody's sleeping. Why did the alien ship not have any defense systems in place whatsoever for unauthorized visitors? Why have no lockable rooms or protected subfloor plumbing for life-vital systems like the stupid humans already built for their shitholes? 2 out of 10 alien race. Ide was quite the dumb bitch himself. Bro had thousands of years to plan out his sabotage and fumbled so badly he ended up relying on a press reporter with a fire axe to get the job done. If this was his plan all along, he should have killed Raw years ago. They're supposed to be a team, so he wouldn't see the backstab coming. All Ide would need to do is telepath Raw, say, "Hey bro, let's grab a cup of coffee at the Dealey Plaza." Then MK Ultra mind control the Marine veteran into mag dumping a Carcano into Raw's skull as he's sitting by the window at Starbucks. He's the one with the dummy tall turtleneck. Can't miss him.
You gotta get up close like this, and bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
They're telepathic, not omnipotent. Raw would never see it coming, and with Raw out of the way, the rest of his plan is significantly easier. Who knows? He might have been able to prevent the pulse wave from frying billions of human brains too, which would have gone a long way towards building goodwill with the humans that he wanted to rule. Well, he didn't do this. Billions died, and when he was chatting with the human soldiers, this idiot even told them straight up that he ordered the pulse wave attack. Oh, but it's chill. I waited until the moon was covering a tiny portion of the planet, thus sparing thousands of lives. See, I'm on your side. Dude, just lie. Tell them Raw ordered it. Say it was automated. Whatever you do, do not tell them you ordered it. Jesus Christ. When the humans pressed him on why he ordered the attack, if he wanted to spare the species, I'd said he was worried that the Ark would realize the jig was up if he fully blocked the pulse wave. Maybe the Ark would have defaulted to an automatic pulse wave if the manual broadcast never fired, which it should have done in the first place. But I'd made it sound like he and Raw had to coordinate the strike, and if the pulse could have been stopped entirely, the Ark could have been obliterated by the humans before it even landed. Either way, the aliens should have been alerted by any deviation from the plan, so even if I'd timed it perfectly with the moon over Moscow, they would still have known. Might as well not have fired it. After the blackout, it's also unclear to me why only Raw is able to mind control hordes of humans. I'd absolutely should have been able to enlist voteless to aid the resistance. Don't tell me this is where he had a moral compunction. I'd somehow didn't know where his own alien ship was set to land, even though Raw did. So I'd needed to locate Raw in order to eliminate him and then destroy the ship once it landed. To do this, he'd had to open a telepathic channel with Raw. The problem was, if he did, Raw would instantly know I'd's location and send his goons after him. That's why he used the half-psionic Sasha to point Raw out on the map. My issue is that there was no reason for Sasha to have done so from inside the outpost. He could have just gone out into the woods, dialed Raw's number, then come back. There's so many discrepancies here, it's hard to keep track of them all. Sasha was only able to locate Raw through some kind of out-of-body astral projection vision that gave him a third-person view of Raw standing on a rooftop. I have no idea how he was able to determine where that building actually was, and vice versa. Raw would have only seen that Sasha was in some underground bunker, but not known the exact coordinates. Maybe the camera view was just a metaphorical depiction of a telepathically encoded sense of location based on each person's own self-aware understanding of where they were. It seems like Sasha was able to just contact Ra directly, so why couldn't Ra just attempt to contact Ide and find his location too? Maybe you have to turn your telepathic phone on first. I don't know. None of which even matters. Ra clearly already knew where the base was, as evidenced by the mind-controlled bear attack at the beginning. I'm going! And the 20 flares shot back towards home base by troops in contact. I'd mentioned after the cruise missile attack that he intended for the base to get nuked so that Ra would think that he had been killed, giving him the element of surprise for a later strike on Ra's base, which is really stupid. Aha! I made the enemy think that he defeated me by allowing him to destroy my entire army. Now I have him right where I want him.
What are you, f***ing stupid? Huh?
As far as Ra was concerned, he just saw Sasha in the outpost and decided to nuke it. It had nothing to do with Ide, and if Ra was smart, he'd know that Ide knew he'd know their location, which means he'd also know to get the hell out of there before the attack. He'd also know that unless he was standing over Ide's dead body, he would need to keep his guard at 100% until the Ark was secure, meaning the sacrifice of the entire base was pointless and detrimental. They were up against a massive army of voteless and needed every man that they could get. Yet Ide was just like, whatever, let's let the human base get nuked. Dumb. And I don't know why I didn't think of this until now, but why the hell did Ide wait days after the initial blackout to finally commune with the human commanders? That delay cost him precious time and countless lives. Special Forces commandos that he needed for the eventual attack on Ra. For f***'s sake, Ide basically waited until nearly all of the human resistance had been wiped out before showing up like, yo, we need to kill this Ra guy. What are you even doing? After Ra was killed, Ide massively misjudged the humans' next move. Obviously, the soldiers were gonna frag him too after hearing how he was basically complicit in the near extinction of the human race. Oh no, the violent bioweapon we infested the Earth with is now trying to kill me too. Who could have seen this coming? I have no idea why he didn't just mind control the soldiers at that point. He could have puppeted them into killing off all the aliens on the Ark, hit them with the Men in Black memory wipe, then gone about his business lording over the 5 humans left on Earth. When the humans turned their guns on him, he basically had no choice but to total mind control them. For some insane reason, he didn't, and got body tackled onto the pavement 80 stories down. Ra. My boy Ra fumbled hard too. 200,000 years to figure out the timing, and he didn't build a single failsafe to make sure that I didn't unilaterally f*** it all up. Did he not have any way to ensure that the timing was correct himself? After the pulse wave attack was executed, it was clear that there was an unaffected pocket of the human life that was actively militarizing. Ra should have destroyed it much more quickly. It was obvious that he had a telepathic connection with drones on the perimeter of the Circle of Life, meaning he would know where the outposts were almost instantly. The mind-controlled bear attack happened very early on. My question is, why send bears when you have cruise missiles and entire military arsenals at your disposal? Ra clearly had the capability to destroy the surviving humans before they even organized into a resistance. Even after they did, it was futile compared to the sheer numbers and hardware that Ra had at his disposal. Every Special Forces recon team that they sent out never came back. We're talking about entire tank divisions too, yet the base wasn't destroyed until the very end. Doesn't make any sense. Ra wouldn't even need a full frontal assault. Days after the blackout, a recon team found a kid barely surviving off gas station chips. He seemed totally normal, a victim of the blackout, until he grabbed a soldier's combat knife and shoved it through his neck. The kid should have waited to make his move until he could grab that rocket launcher and blow up their entire building. If If Ra had the ability to create sleeper agents, he could have started the attack by sending in a bunch of normal civilians to the base. The soldiers would have taken them in, and Ra could then activate them to sabotage and start mass killing from within. It's not even clear why Ra couldn't just mind control the human resistance. Ida was able to mind control the base commander's soldiers and even threatened her, saying that he could have her men squeeze the trigger on her head at any moment. These were soldiers supposedly shielded from the neuro pulse wave. Okay, then why couldn't Ra do the same? Distance clearly wasn't an issue. Sasha telepathically communicated with Ra from the base itself. Once Ra's location was discovered by Sasha and Ide, he should have immediately relocated. He knew Ide would have to attack him, because if Ra managed to awaken the entire colony, Ide's game would be over. When he saw the BMPs approaching, he should have fortified the area, packed the building with drones, lined the streets with bombers and IEDs, and block every road with cars and debris. No idea why he put the bombers on the roofs, where they had to perfectly time their jumps onto armored vehicles. Dumb. Just put him in the crowd on the road. If Ra had simply moved into another building and kept hiding, using his vast voteless army to harass the humans while staying out of sight, he would have easily won that ring around the rosy battle of attrition. Ra was overconfident, lazy, and dumb, which is exactly why he got a grenade tossed into his chest cavity. The humans honestly didn't do too bad. As soon as they realized that the entire world was blacked out and no contact, they formed defensive outposts and began launching Special Forces recon missions to assess the situation and figure out what the hell was going on. As soon as Ide showed up with the exposition dump, they quickly agreed to join forces and take out Ra. Their mistake was in only taking a few BMPs out for what sounded like their only shot at stopping the alien invasion. The base was loaded with soldiers, tanks, and VTOLs. If I'm the base commander, I'm rolling out with everything we got. Ideally, as soon as they realized that they needed to take out Ra, they should have ordered a retreat for their other 6 or 7 teams to come back to base and form up for the full assault on Ra's HQ. However, they had no reliable long-distance comms, and less than 24 hours time to make the assault on Ra's position. It's not like they could have waited more than a few hours, as the alien ship would have landed before they got there. Unfortunately, they also didn't know Ra was able to send cruise missile attacks, nor had any real ability to counter it outside of their CIWS system. They had to trust Ide and got over for it. When they hit Ra's location, holding a ground position against endless waves of drones was pointless. Ra's telepathic reach could strike 8 teams at once across the entire circle of life and muster gigantic hordes. So the only winning move here was to take Ra out. The whole team should have dismounted and advanced up the stairs together. Chopping up skinnies was just wasting people, ammo, and time, even though it looked hella fun. The rear team would have had a much easier time holding them off at the stairwell choke point anyway, and would have been less exposed to gun and rocket fire. Killing Ide was the correct move. I'm glad they didn't leave him alive. He's too powerful, too narcissistic, and, you know, the whole thing about being an accomplice to the genocide of nearly all humans on Earth. Plus he had a weird face.
You one ugly mother.
And that emo Matrix trenchcoat shit looks lame. That guy. I must say, they did get supremely lucky that the aliens didn't come out of stasis earlier, giving them a solid few minutes to run in with the fire axe. Which is hilarious. The soldiers pick up machine guns, and this press chick just picks up an axe. Like you're walking into a hostile alien spaceship, and your weapon of choice is a fire axe? Lady, there's guns everywhere. Leaving those alien children alive was, in my opinion, unconscionable. This is an alien race of mind-controlling telepaths who just tried to extinct your entire race, whose parents you just suffocated to death. You don't think these younglings are gonna figure out what happened, then shove their telepathic hand up your ass to work your brain like a puppet? That is a chance I'm not gonna take. I'm going Benicio del Toro and Sicario. I'm going Order 66.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Oh, but nerd, they're just children, innocent of the crimes of their parents. Bullshit. I'd already told them that they were immortal. Ida was at least 200,000 years old, and he looked like he was in his 20s. These kids could still be tens of thousands of years old, meaning that they're not dumb toddlers. Look at them. These are clearly mass-murdering maniacs who must be stopped at all costs. All right, children, now stand together. A little closer. That's it. A little closer. Perfect.
Say hello to my little friend!
Ultimately, the humans won, and the ancient aliens in Blackout Invasion Earth were beaten. But only because the aliens were tragically haphazard in their colonization attempt. Moral of the story, never leave your enemy's children alive.